Yes. Another episode of SRL Sports Rapping Live. Of course, I am your sports king. Salute. I'm going to go ahead and recap my predictions for week number 4 in the NFL. You know the slogan. Let's talk about it. So yeah, detailing last week, it was a great week in the NFL. Great matchups. The Thursday night game. As if you missed my previous blog, go ahead and make sure to go ahead and check out my blog and my predictions. I did predict the Thursday night game, which was between the Rams and the Vikings, for the Rams to win. The Rams came out victorious. Great win for the Rams. Rams remain undefeated. They defeated the Vikings 38-31. And my thing is, at this point in time, I really feel like the Rams are making noise right now, and I really feel like they're knocking, and they're basically saying, "Hey, you know what? We're coming for a championship." So my question I pose, just starting it off, is it too early to say the Vikings are a championship contender ready? I feel like right now, the way that they're playing, they are ready. They're coming and look like they're coming to stay. So great win for the Rams to remain undefeated. At this point in time, there's only two undefeated teams in the NFL. And to see the Rams still remain undefeated speaks volumes on the coaching staff and the play. So great win in that Thursday night matchup. So we're gonna get into these Sunday games, and let's go ahead and talk about it, and let's see how I ended in this week. So yeah, kicking it off, we had the Saints and the Giants. I predicted the Saints to win. I definitely got a win in that. Great win for the Saints. It was ended up at 33-18. The Saints now are at 3-1. The Giants now are at 1-3. Looking at that matchup, it was great seeing the play from Drew Brees, and of course Alvin Kamara having 3 touchdowns and running over 100 yards. He stood out. He came to play. Great play. I mean, even in one of the touchdowns, he just went ahead and he just like left the stadium. But the Saints, they needed that win. They got the win, and it was definitely a win that was in a great fashion. So the Giants now, getting their first win last week against the Texans. Should we be concerned? I'm a little bit concerned with the Giants at this point in time. Do we need to make some personnel changes? I don't know, Saquon Barkley with that big contract. Is he living up to that contract? Just so many questions about the Giants. So many question marks at this point. Odell Beckham, he really doesn't seem in rhythm. Eli Manning had a subpar game, but still just wasn't enough. So great win for the Saints in that matchup. Next, we had the Ravens and the Steelers. In that matchup, I predicted the Ravens to win. They definitely did get a win, 26-14, improving to 3-1. The Steelers now are at 1-2-1. Joe Flacco throwing over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Steelers, looking at Big Ben, yeah, he threw over 200 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But as I mentioned before, I just have concern, to be honest, with the Steelers. Another team, do we need to make some personnel changes? I mean, they're not in sync. Antonio Brown still making spectacular catches, still making great plays, but it's still not adding up in the win column. At this point in time, looking at their record and just seeing where they stand, you would think with such great talent that they should have more wins. So I'm really concerned. Steeler fans out there, leave a comment below. What adjustment would you make? What adjustments would you like to see? And are you guys concerned at this point? But great win in that matchup. And yes, I did get a definitely win in that prediction. So salute to all the Ravens fans out there. Next, we had the Texans and the Colts. People were getting on me on Twitter or Instagram, basically saying, "Hey, you were dogging our Texans. You were saying that they're going to be on forward, but we got our first win of the season, and a great win at that for the Texans. Texas now improving to 1-3, defeating the Colts 37-34. Deshaun Watson throwing over 300 yards, 375 yards to be exact, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Andrew Luck had a decent game to me, throwing over for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it just wasn't enough. And now looking at this, now they're both 1-3. So the Texans, great win. They definitely needed this win. And now looking at it, does that keep the momentum rolling? So do we now continue to see more wins from the Texans? More to come on that. We'll definitely see, but much needed win for the Texans organization and getting their first win of the season. Next, we had the Packers and the Bills. I did predict the Packers to get a win, and they got their win in that fashion, defeating the Bills 22-0, improving to 2-1-1, and the Bills are now 1-3. Looking at that matchup, Aaron Rodgers, he threw for over 200 yards, a touchdown, interception. And looking at that, for the Bills not to score at all, the Packers defense really looked very, very well, man. They put on a great game plan, and the Bills really couldn't do nothing at all from an offensive standpoint. And the Packers, they came into this game, and I knew that they felt like we have to get a win. This is not what if. We need a win. We need to go ahead and change the momentum around here. And it was a great win, much needed win, and the ball will be rolling. So the ball's in the Packers' arm now. So let's see what they'll do with it. But great win for the Packers in that game. Next was the Bears and the Buccaneers. People know I predicted the Buccaneers to win, really stating that, Ryan Fitzpatrick and the crew, looking at how they lost the prior week, they definitely need to come in here with a win. But wow, did the Bears come up and did they play? They came, they played, and they showed out, defeating the Buccaneers 48-10, improving now to 3-1. The Buccaneers are now 2-2. Trubisky, throwing for 6 touchdowns, amazing. 354 yards. Jameis Winston, getting to see him, but look at him in that game. He threw for a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Jameis Winston, I don't know, coming back wasn't really exciting in my opinion. He really still looked like the same Jameis. He really didn't look. At this point, he just still looked like he doesn't understand what the defenses are throwing at him. He really didn't look in sync with his wide receivers. Now I know he's still getting acclimated into the things, into the offensive things. But at this point of time, what quarterback changes would you guys like to see? Do we continue to use Ryan, or what would you guys like to see as Buccaneers fans? So leave a comment below and let me know. But great win for the Bears, in that matchup. Next, we had the Patriots and the Dolphins. As I always say, win, lose, or draw, I'm going with the Dolphins. You guys know I predicted the Dolphins, but the Patriots came and they slaughtered the Dolphins, 38-7, improving to 2-2. The Dolphins now are 3-1. Tom Brady, 224 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ryan Tannehill, 100 yards and an interception. But looking at Tom Brady in that matchup, he looked subpar as well. One thing with Tom is is his age catching up to him? Because now, making the mistakes that I'm seeing him make, terrific Tom is what they call him. He usually tend to not make those mistakes, especially interceptions. Him throwing an interception almost every game now. Patriots fans, what's really going on? But needless to say, a win is a win, and they got a great win, and they always tend to have the Dolphins' numbers. So great win. The Dolphins finally seen their first loss of the season. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when it was coming. So great win for the Patriots in that fashion. Next, we have the Cowboys and the Lions. I predicted the Cowboys to win, and they definitely got a good win, defeating the Lions 26-24, improving to 2-2. The Lions now are 1-3. Ezekiel Elliott, great win. He ran for over 100 yards, 152 yards to be exact. He really looked great in that fashion. Looking at Matt Stafford, he threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Cowboys, just give them a lot of credit, man. They came and they knew that they also needed to win. They got a great win, and now the Cowboys, with their record, I really feel like they're going to be making a whole lot of noise too. I expect for them to really get the ball rolling and winning more games. Dak Prescott looked okay in that game, but Ezekiel Elliott, he showed up. And he feed me. He just kept saying, feed me. That's all you kept seeing. He wanted that ball. So great win for the Cowboys defeating the Lions. Next was the Falcons and the Bengals. I did predict the Falcons to win. The Bengals came up. What a great game. They defeated them by 1 point, 37-36. Matt Ryan, 419 yards, 3 touchdowns. Andy Dalton, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Great win. It just went down to the wire, and the Bengals they just came and they just sealed the deal. And a great win, and a win that I feel as though with the Bengals keeping up that momentum now too, because now looking at their record, I definitely think they go in the locker room, they talk to each other, they saying, "Hey man, look at what we're doing. We're making noise. Let's keep our foot on the gas. Do not let up. Let's keep this momentum going week by week." And that was definitely a great win for the Bengals. Next was the Jets and the Jaguars. I did predict the Jaguars to win, and they got a great win, 31-12, improving now to 3-1. The Jets are now 1-3. Looking at that matchup, Blake Bortles, 388 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Sam Darnold, 107 yards. He threw for a touchdown. But looking at this matchup, and really with the Jets is another team that I have concerns with. At looking at their record, some personnel changes need to be made, I feel. But give a lot of credit to the Jags. The Jags knew losing the week prior, we need to come in here and we need a win. And they came and they showed up. They put on a great game plan from the beginning to the end, and they got a definitely much needed win. So all the Jaguar fans, great win. Next was the Titans and the Eagles. I predicted the Eagles to win, and I really was stating, oh, because they know how to bounce back. They're a Super Bowl team. They know how to make adjustments. But the Titans said, nah, not now, not in this game. Titans came, got a great win, 26-23, improving now to 3-1. The Eagles now are 2-2. Mariota throwing for 344 yards. 2 touchdowns, interceptions. Carson Wentz throwing over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just give a lot of credit to the Titans, especially now looking at their record. They're putting out great game plans. They're executing plays. They're challenging the defenses. They're Mariota. You can see the maturity in his game. He's really composed. He takes his time. He's really looking at the defense of schemes that's thrown at him, whether it be 4-3s, 3-4s, and he's making those necessary adjustments. So great win for the Titans in that matchup. Next was the Raiders and the Broncos. Raiders and the Browns. I predicted the Browns to win. I was really stating that look for them to win about 7, 8 games this season. They're a team that's going to be making a lot of noise. But what a great win for the Raiders, getting their first win of the season, improving now to 1-3. The Browns are now 1-2-1. Baker Mayfield came out. He threw for 295 yards, but Derek Carr, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, throwing over for 400 yards. Great win for the Raiders, and we know a much needed win. They didn't want to go another week without remaining defeatless and not getting a win. So Baker Mayfield, he, to me, even as a rookie, he still looked very composed. Yeah, he made some mistakes, but all in all, he still looked composed. And I still feel as though the Browns will still get a lot of wins this year. But give a lot of credit to the Raiders. Great game plan, and they know they needed to win, and they got to win in a great fashion. So salute to all the Raiders fans. Next was the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I predicted the Seahawks to win. They got to win 20-17. Russell Wilson, 172 yards. Great game in the air. But the Cardinals, 0-4. Cardinal fans, what changes would you like to see? I mean, to be 0-4 at this point, that's very concerning. That's very telling of the team. Looking at how they play, and then just looking at them when the camera tends to pan to them while they're on the bench, they don't look like they even bonding together. They look so out of sync. They look disconnected. Sometimes they're looking as if, hey, you know what? Another game down. Okay, we're still getting paid. You know how sometimes you just go to work, even though you may not like your job, but you're like, I'm just here just to get a check. Let me clock in, clock out, and go home and go about my business. To me, that's how the Cardinals are playing. What changes would you like to see with the Cardinals, especially now not getting a win at all? They definitely need a win. I mean, something has got to change at this point in time. The time is ticking, and the chop and block at this point in time. But great win, great win. Next was the 49ers and the Chargers. I did predict the 49ers to win. They got a great win. I predicted the Chargers to win. Great win for the Chargers, defeating the 49ers 29-27. Phillip Rivers, 3 touchdowns. He threw for 1 interception. Great win. The Chargers are now 2-2. That's a team to me as if, man, they know what they need to do, and they'll get the job done. But then sometimes they just feel as if they just disconnected as well, where they just like, wow, what's going on? And then when you have a veteran in Phillip Rivers, he knows how to lead a team. He's been through this before. So the main question is now, man, can you get us to the promised land now? We know we always make the playoffs, but we tend to just stop. So it's just consistency. If I had to describe one word for the Chargers, just remain consistent. Consistency is the key. Last but not least, we had the Chiefs and the Broncos, our Monday night game. I predicted the Chiefs definitely to win. They remain undefeated. They got a great win, 27-23. Patrick Mahomes, 304 yards, 1 touchdown. Kareem Hunt, another great win in that matchup. Looking at this, I really feel like the Chiefs are like, you know what? Just stamp it. Stamp us now as the champions. I mean, looking at Patrick Mahomes, as I mentioned, week by week, very impressive, man. Not throwing for any interceptions as well. As I mentioned in my previous blog, I know when you're high, at some point you got to go low, but it just looked like he's just remaining high. His IQ to me is just right now just one of the best in the league. Like he just his decision making is just really impeccable at this point. I really don't want to speak too high of him as I've been doing, because I know at some point he's going to hit low. But if he continues at this rate, I mean, it's just no stopping. It's just no stopping the Chiefs. Great win on that Monday night game, and I feel like that momentum that they're doing, it's just going to continue. So at this rate, man, just be on the lookout for the Chiefs, man. I think the question now is just like, when are they going to lose, or when do they want to lose at this point? So great win. So yeah, those were my predictions. Looking at how I ended, I was definitely impressed with myself. I did do well. My results, drum roll please. My results, 9-6. So 9-6, not that bad, especially from the prior week. So I just look to continue to get better week by week. For the season, however, I am now at 33, 28, and 2. 33, 28, and 2. So yes, continue to like, subscribe, share this page. Let me know your comments, your thoughts. What team has impressed you? What team has not impressed you? What adjustments would you like to see from your team? What are your thoughts on the NFL so far as we're heading into week number 5? I'm going to be going ahead and drop my predictions for week number 5. So be on the lookout for that. Continue to share my page. Continue to leave comments as we have great dialogue. And I will continue to upload week by week my predictions on the NFL and on different hot topics. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, Sports King signing off. And you know the slogan, let's talk about it.